So, I have previously done two videos, on Duels of the Planeswalkers, which is a Magic the Gathering computer game. However, this video is to more teach people how to play Magic. So, each player has a deck called a library. It's a set of cards, here. It has to be at least 60 cards, and at the beginning of the game you draw 7 cards. At the beginning of each turn you draw an extra card, so now up to 8. Now, these cards, basic lands, they give you mana to cast spells. So, you can play 1 land per turn, so play down by 1 planes per turn, and this allows me to cast a spell which has a cost either of 1, or with a white symbol. That's the white symbol, the sort of starburst effect. So I've got a choice of 2 cards to play, a Cordialist or Gideon's Lawkeeper. I'm going to cast Gideon's Lawkeeper, I tap the land to get the 1 mana I need, put it into the battlefield, and that's my turn. Knockov did a similar thing where he cast 1 mountain, which gives him red mana. I cast this Grim Lavamancer, which has a cost of 1 red mana. He's now got 2 mountains. He's not doing anything. Maybe he has no cards which cost 2. So at the beginning of my turn, cast a second plane, so I can now cast cards up to cost 2. Here, cost 1 of any colour and 1 white. So I'm going to cast Glory Seeker. Move on from the first main phase to the combat phase. Now, creatures you summon in the current turn, you can't do anything with. It's got something called Summoning Sickness. However, this creature came into play last turn, so I can attack with him. So to declare my attack, I tap him. In response, Koff has the opportunity to block me with any of his creatures. He decides not to, and I do 1 damage to Koff. You start off with 20 life, you go to 0 or less, and you're dead, and you lose. So I now have 20 life, he's now got 19. Technically, I'm winning the game. So you cast 3 mana to cast Volshock Heartstoker, and when it enters play, a target creature gets +2/+0 to the end of the turn. He decides to put that onto his Lavamancer, and his Lavamancer becomes a 3/1 until the end of the turn. He's not choosing to attack, so again I pass over my turn, and as the turn ends, that becomes a 1/1 again. So I'll play my 3rd planes. I'm going to cast Gideon's Avenger. Move on to the combat phase, where I'm going to attack with my Glory Seeker. This time Koff decides to block with his 2/2. So they both do 2 damage to one another, which indicated by the first number. Second number indicates how much health they've got. So they've just done 2 damage, they both go down to 0, and they both die and go into the graveyard. Second main phase, where you can pretty much do the same thing as in your first main phase. In fact, you can. It just happens to be after combat. But I've got nothing to do, so I pass. Koff has nothing to do other than play a mountain. I'm back to my turn. So I play my 4th plane, I now have 4 mana. I'm going to cast Angel's Feather, so whenever anybody casts a white spell, I gain 1 life. However, I am the only person who's going to cast white spells, because I'm playing against Koff, who's playing a red deck. So I then cast a Glory Seeker, which is a white spell, gain 1 life, and Glory Seeker comes into play. I attack my Gideon's Avenger. The reason for this is it's a 2/2. He only has a 1/1, so he decides to block. My creature will kill his creature. My creature was 5. But no, he decides just to take the damage and goes now down to 17. So he's casting Earth Elemental. It's a 4/5, which is quite scary. I've got nothing. No one creature can block it. However, you can use multiple creatures to block 1 creature if you so desire. Right. So I don't have another planes to cast, so I'm still stuck with my 4 mana. However, I did get a Trusty Machete. This is an equipment card, an artifact equipment. So I pay 1 to put into the battlefield. Where it just sits there doing nothing, until I cast this equip cost. And when I equip it to a creature, the creature gets +2/+1. So I'm going to equip that to my Glory Seeker. I'm going to move into the combat phase. I'm not going to do anything. I'll just let Koff have his go. I got 1 mana spare. This is because Gideon's Lawkeeper is an ability where I spend 1 white mana. That is a tap symbol, so turn sideways, and I tap a target creature. So I'm going to cast this now, actually. So I do that. Pay the 1 mana, tap my Gideon's Lawkeeper, tap his Earth Elemental. As Earth Elemental now can't attack or defend. And because of... I'm sorry. Cast a second Earth Elemental. Gideon's Avenger has this ability. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, I put a 1/1 counter on Gideon's Avenger. So I tapped this creature, this counter now appears, and my 2/2 has now become a 3/3. However, he has cast another Earth Elemental. Can't do anything with it, Summoning Sickness. It's not attacking with his Grim Lavamancer. Back to my turn. I assume you've seen this before, but at the beginning of your turn, you untap all your cards. Right. I've now got 5 mana. The cards in my hand only cost me 3, so I'm going to cast both of them. I also gain 2 life in the process, because they're both white spells. So, when the Outfitter comes into play, I can attach a target equipment I control to a target creature I control. So, I have to pick my machete, so the equipment I've got. I'm going to change it, so it's now attached to my Avenger. So my Avenger is now a 5/4, and the Earth Elemental is a 4/5. So if they attack one another, if they block one another, then they'll both kill. They'll kill one another. However, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to use Gideon's Lawkeeper's ability. I'm going to tap that Earth Elemental, which gives an extra 1/1 counter, so this is now 6/5. So 1 Earth Elemental will not be able to kill him. Also, he only has 1 thing to defend, a 1/1, so I'm going to swing my 2/2 and my 6/5. He can block either of them, but he would die in the process, and I won't. No, but he's deciding he'll just take the 8 damage, so cost now 9. I'm 23, so I'm fairly winning this, especially saying I have more creatures in play. 7 mana for Koff. Not attacking with either of his Earth Elementals, but he has cast a Flameborn Hellion, so it's a 5/4. It has haste. Now, if he casts this in his first main phase as opposed to his second one, it would be able to attack straight away. It doesn't suffer from Summoning Sickness. It also has a second statement where it has to attack each turn. No choice about that. But seeing he casts in his second main phase, he can't attack with it. Right, all I've got is a plane. Now, what am I going to do? I'm not going to do anything this turn. I could attack, but then his Hellion can block me. Or I could tap one of his creatures, and then he could still block me with an Earth Elemental and the Hellion, and still kill the Avenger. And I'd only be able to kill one of his guys, and I don't consider that a good idea. Right, so he's casting a Sorcery. Sorcery is a spell which you can only cast during your main phase. There's other spells called Instants, and they can be cast whenever you desire. So he's dealing, let's see, 8 damage to my Lawkeeper. Now, before he casts that, I'm going to use my ability. I'm going to tap his Earth Elemental. Now, this is called the stack. Basically, he's put his card down, which is a Spire Barrage. On top of that, I've put down the fact that I'm tapping. And then you resolve from the top. So first I tap, and then he will do the damage. So tap, that puts that onto the... Sorry, that also puts that onto the stack, so I get this token, then he kills me. So basically you put your cards on a stack, and then you resolve from the top of the stack up. So again, he's tapped. That creature has to attack. I'm just going to block, because I'm going to kill him without me losing any... Well, without me losing the creature. It's 5 damage, doesn't equal my 7 and go for defense. And the damage is only for the turn. So if he took me down to 2 health. If he was able to somehow cast a spell which had 2 damage, he'd be able to kill the Avenger. Already done, so the Avenger is now back up to 8/7. So this is a lovely card with a number of things on it. Firstly, it's a 3/3, and it costs 4 colorless mana and 2 white mana. It has Vigilance. This means it can attack, but it doesn't tap So you can attack with it, and it's still available for defense. Also says, other soldier creatures you control have +1/+1 and have vigilance. It's a soldier, as indicated here on its creature line. It also enters play with 3 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. So basically, I get 3 more guys. So, gain 1 life, spell comes to the battlefield, and it resolves its ability to create these 3 tokens. And remember, there were only 1/1s, but because they're soldiers, they're now 2/2s with vigilance. That's what that symbol there is. Obviously you don't get the symbols on your cards, but this game is good at notifying you with symbols. So, he has a 4/5. He's got 9 health. So, I can attack my Lawkeeper. Sorry, not my Lawkeeper, my Avenger. And assuming he doesn't block, I've killed him. However, he is going to block. He has to block, otherwise he's going to die. So I'm going to come in with more creatures. Now, he could block the 3/3, however he's still going to die. He could block both, in fact, with his creatures, he'll be fine. So I'm just going to come in with all the creatures I've got. Now, he's going to block the 9/8 for sure. If he's smart, he'll use his 4/5 to block one of my other creatures and kill the creature whilst keeping his Earth Element alive. But this depends how smart he is. Reasonably smart. So he uses a little guy. And this little guy dies, but he doesn't take the 9 damage. He takes 3 from that Glory Seeker, wisely kills the core outfitter without dying himself, and takes another 2. So he's down to 4. However, all of my guys have to be soldiers, so I can block any attack he comes up with. Which he's not going to, because he's going to know that I'm going to swing hard, have lots of guys next turn. I'll just cast a Sun Spear Shikari. Again, another soldier. And I'm just going to swing with everything, because he's going to block at most 2 creatures. Now, I don't need to swing with everything, but, you know, overkill. It's fun. So he's going to block mine now. Oh no, he's not. He realizes he's dead, so the AI is happy to take the damage whilst keeping his creatures alive, which is a bit silly because when he dies, obviously all his creatures disappear. Plus he's lost. So -13, and that's a game of Magic.